Cow. I gotta go, Julia. We got cows. Another cow. Actually, I think that was the same one. I'm John Renton with the retro review of Twister from 1996, directed by Jan de Bont, who did Speed, then this movie, then Speed 2, Cruise Control, and then The Haunting. The less said about those two latter films, the better, but Speed and Twister, never were the such devoted Twisters. We got a scene with Twister sisters, never were the such devoted Twister sisters. Okay, so nevertheless, Jan de Bont creating two back-to-back actiony, fun, physics-defying fun flicks. Seriously, there's no way the people in Speed and this movie would have survived half the goddamn shit they went through. But nevertheless, they were fun. Fun summer blockbusters. I remember watching this at the now defunct Twin Cinema that used to be in our town. It's now a church of some variety. Very, very old school theater, to the point that the seats are almost like concrete. But I sat at 15 years old watching this and enjoying the fuck out of it. And realizing that this movie is 27 fucking years old. My goddamn goodness, where has the time gone? So, written by Michael Crichton. Look up his body of work. I mean, tremendous body of work. Rest in peace. He's been, unfortunately, dead for about the past 15 years. And then written by Anne-Marie Alberghetti. Oh no, Anne-Marie Martin, who has had various acting roles and had a part in writing this. So, this stars a lot of people. As would any movie, really, unless you're doing a small cast and a found footage flick. And this is not found footage. This had $92 million thrown towards it. 1996 money. More on that here in a bit. But you had Helen Hunt as Dr. Joe Harding, who's bound, determined to figure out how to read tornadoes properly. Get some sensors and get some shit inside a tornado to be able to read it. Because you really can't send a human being up there with a goddamn pen and paper, because I don't think that would work too well. But she is about to be divorced from her husband, obviously. Who the fuck else would she be divorced from? Bill Harding, played by Bill Paxton. Rest in peace, Bill Paxton. Ha ha, Bill, we know you're really, really smart. We want you to play a guy named Bill. So, okay, that was pretty easy to remember. And you had Cary Elwes, who was in this. As You Wish. And apparently a really nice guy and really great at playing villains. He plays Jonas Miller, who is not going into the mouth of a whale. It's probably good, even though there was kind of some symbolic stuff there. Jamie Gertz was in this as the new love interest of Bill Paxton's Bill. And various other people, including Philip Seymour Hoffman, uttering a line at one point, "It's the suck zone." And I had to scour myself with about 5 Brillo pads and a pressure washer because of that line uttered by Philip Seymour Hoffman. May Spoon Man rest in peace. I'm going to hell. I'm so going to hell for that. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for that. But a lot of goddamn people in this. Lois Smith, who plays Aunt Meg and is still alive. She was born in 1930. She is still alive. Good for her. But Alan Ruck, Scott Thompson, Todd Field, ironically they were out in the field, and Wendell Josepher. Whatever happened to her? I mean, I'm not saying she was exactly amazing, but she had a good look here. She had a decent supporting role. Apparently she's done some television projects, so that's fine work for an actor. So yeah, Storm Chasers going after Twisters in Oklahoma. And that's pretty much the plot right there. So I did kind of laugh at the fact when I took a look at the facts and figures of this. A $92 million budget in 1996 money would be about 180, just under 180 today. So that's pretty goddamn good. So we're almost going 2 times. The opening was $41 million. This was a smash fucking success. So that'd be about almost $80 million today. $241.8 million gross in the U.S. That would be 471.1 today. And then worldwide gross, just under 500 million, and that would be just under 1 billion today. So, yeah, I think they did pretty well. And apparently they're doing a sequel. I don't know why, especially now, because Bill Paxton's not around. Apparently they're going to focus on the children. I mean, that's been rumor. It's been rumor and innuendo or innuendo for a while, so cool, I guess, if it happens. Maybe they get Jan de Bont to direct it, assuming he's still alive. I actually don't know if he is. So, yeah, if you haven't seen Twister, by the way, retro reviews are going to be spoilers. If you've seen Twister, what do you guys think of Twister? I want to know. So, in the very beginning, in 1969, nice, Joe and her mama, yes, that's that old joke right there, saw the father swept away. No, I can't hold it. I'm just going to hang on this door. The dog was safe. That was good. Good. I'm always glad when the animals are safe. And, nevertheless, this movie's fun. Obviously, Jan de Bont seemed to prioritize fun, even if his latter projects didn't exactly work. And then basically, Bill shows up with Melissa, trying to get Joe to sign the divorce papers. They're in the midst of setting stuff up where they're going to go out storm chasing. And welcome back, Bill. I'm not back. The old school cell phone technology. And then the cuts to the weather station that's just seemingly in space. I have no idea where this thing fucking located. And the weather station, just to remind you, people actually get paid a lot of money to track these storms. And that's good. That's good. But it just seems to be taking place in a goddamn vacuum. It's like, oh, hey, here's the weather station. And we're just going to type and type and type and type and type. And man, that computer technology. To think that we thought at that point the information superhighway was never going to get any better. So they have a a giant can with other little balls in it with sensors on it called Dorothy. Because, NTM, get Toto, it's a twister. And then they're going to send it up there to read that shit. So, the best way, of course, to read tornadoes is to immediately go right into them and try to send this shit up there. Not understanding how physics work and how nature is unpredictable, but nevertheless, Bill, in his infinite idiocy and getting caught up in the fact that he helped design this thing. Oh shit! I forgot to have her design the divorce papers and sign the divorce papers. So shit, we have to race off and go there, and then they're caught up in all this. Various storm chase sequences happen, and then sudden onset Cary Elwes, who. He was great in a few scenes, and then they just forgot about him for most of the third act. I mean, it's like, hey, you're here, and then, wait, wasn't he, like, part of a group? Wasn't he leading a group that was, like, going with this? And, of course, he stole their technology, because Cary was able to do that. He's able to carry stuff away over there. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And he's a corporate kiss butt, man. Remember the commercial, that skewering way old. This is during the Super Bowl in 95, I believe. There was a guy that was going to answer a question to win a cash prize, and it was the Got Milk ad, and he ate some peanut butter, and the radio guy couldn't understand him. I think the answer for the question was Alan Burr. Remember that guy? That guy was in this movie. He got a few roles out of that, and that's good. That's good. I don't remember the guy's name, but nevertheless, then Bill Paxton's like, fine, one day, I'll give you one day where the sheep flies or not, I'm gone. One day turns into two, and then time loses all meaning because storm chasing. So, I did love the soundtrack. Fucking Van Halen in this, Humans Being, great stuff. Respect the Wind. Fucking Tori Amos. I believe Soul Asylum is part of this. I mean, that's fucking 90s as fuck. So anyway, they argue, Joe and Bill do. I can say Bill because it's his actual character name. And then there's a lot of stuff being chucked around him and everything. The a few of the Dorothys, they have 4 of these designed apparently. One tips over. They because you can't predict how a fucking storm's gonna go. I did like the I did like the point where basically Melissa is I believe a reproduction therapist or whatever, and she was helping somebody through a possible, I believe, a pregnancy. We never actually saw what's going on. And then the cow flies by. I gotta go, Julia. We got cows. Another cow, I believe that's the same one. And they're on this dirt bridge type road and everything, where the twister's gonna have to cut across. And they're like, oh shit, we've got 2 twisters, and oh, they're coming right at us, and yeah, maybe you shouldn't have fucking been there. And then woo! And it just keeps spinning around, and wee! And I'd spin the chair around, but I get really dizzy right here. But there you go. And then they realize they're close to a place called Wakita, which I assume is a town, could be a county, could be something on Mars for all I know. Aunt Meg apparently is just somebody that just has like tons of food just ready. I mean, this is a great sequence, by the way. Not just great scene, great sequence, because they are food, they're doing all that and everything. How high was Philip Seymour Hoffman on weed? I mean, during this, I mean, seriously, he had to have been a stoner during this. So that being said, so many guests. Poor Aunt Meg, but she was ready. Eggs, meat, gravy. There was practically its own food group, according to Philip Seymour Hoffman. And, God, Aunt Meg could have opened her own goddamn restaurant as a subdivision of her house and probably made a ton of money. Did you see my cows? No? Oh, I killed my cows. Ha 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 ha. I better keep this meat properly frozen. So anyway, I remember, it's like, and then they suddenly show Helen Hunt in the shower, and oh, I see, it's okay when a movie films this, and yet I do it, and I'm asked to leave. Now, Helen Hunt looked good here, still looks good now. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I'll stick with it. And they're talking about the various F versions of Twisters. What's F5? It's the finger of God. It's when God violently fingers humanity. Ow, I needed to sit down this week. So, I'm sorry to eat and run. Don't worry, it's what you do. Yeah, I mean, character of Aunt Meg was fine. They revisit her a little bit later. And then quick, everybody just race towards stuff. And I did love how the earlier scene of the truck getting destroyed, like before they got to Aunt Meg's house, led to Bill Paxton's truck being used. And the fact that nobody thought we shouldn't go down this tunnel service area. And nobody thought to plan ahead on this shit. I mean, I know it's Oklahoma, but I would imagine you would know these roads a little bit better. So, and then they decide to chase another tornado. And they're like, we can't see it. How do you fucking lose track of a tornado? Look in the sky. I'm not saying it's easy to hunt, but good grief. So, there's debris, lots of debris. They have to hail a cab to get out of there. And then the funniest line, and only funny because it's only going to be funny to me just because of watching this with my family. But Bill Paxton trying to get, Helen Hunt to stop grabbing the stuff and everything, and the other Dorothy had tipped over. You can't explain it, you can't predict it, and I don't know why, but my sister always popped at that line. My sister's still alive, by the way, I just want to say it. She hasn't been over for a few years, but that I will always remember this movie for a few reasons, and that's one of them. And it sounds a little bit silly, but just her always laughing at that, no matter what. And I don't know if she still would laugh at that, but I just remember when we were younger, she would. So that was funny. And Melissa knows because she's hearing on the radio, because apparently the radio was just locked on, despite the fact that the radio should have been damaged in the truck. No. He says, you got me, Joe, and Melissa knows that it's not over. It's not Jover, as it were. So then we go to a scene where they're at a drive-in. And then talk dirty to me. Do. Anyway, so yeah, they have a drive-in showing of The Shining. And because Stephen King was not happy with what Stanley Kubrick did, Stephen King summoned a giant tornado to come down and says, I'll show you, Stanley Kubrick. Yeah, apparently he didn't like his vision. I like The Shining movie. But Stephen King's the one that wrote it, so I can understand that. And then, yeah, so everything just gets ripped asunder, including the screen. Really good visual effects here. And then they get into this giant pit of this mechanic shop. And then one character named Preacher gets sliced across the head by a hubcap. And then, I don't know why it was a hollowed out airplane hangar. Everybody's panicked, but the storm's passed, except it's heading towards Aunt Meg's house. So Aunt Meg got hit. And then her dog was in trouble. Her dog was fine. So was Aunt Meg. She had a bump on the head and a broken wrist. She was okay. And then the TV nearly hit them. Because the TV's like, I'm too heavy. I'm not the flat screen TVs that exist now. Whee! It was hanging out of the wall. That's how you know you have a strong cable connection. I'm sorry. I'm not. And then basically the idea was, as Joe was thinking, she saw this metal spinny thing, windmill chime deal, whatever, that was doing this. Okay, I'm done doing that. And she had the idea, she's like, wait a second. We need to weigh that stuff down. Nobody thought to weigh shit down before flying into a tornado before this? But yeah, let's get a whole bunch of aluminum cans, those old school Pepsi cans. Pepsi Man! God, that game sucked. And... God damn it. All the cuts on their hands from handling the Pepsi cans. Pepsi can! And then Jonas and his group show back up. Nice of you guys to show back up. Apparently, they just took a break or got swallowed into a pit for a bit. And they end up dying because they don't listen to what Bill and Joe tell them. And then they get launched. And Bill and Joe are trying to drive away, but a tree is wedged under their truck. This is all happening in rapid succession. And then a tanker truck is flying up and everything. And Fred's like, I was supposed to deliver this fuel, but I think it's going to be delivered unto me. And then the tanker runs in, or just scrapes into him. Doesn't blow up yet. They manage to get loose of the tree. Nice of the Twister to conveniently free them. So they were okay to play more games with them. And then the tanker truck explodes. And they get around it. Melissa has left the whole thing, by the way, by this point. She left right after the drive-in stuff. And then they get to an area where they are able to launch the stuff up into the tornado. And then because they had the truck on there, the Children of the Corn were getting sucked up to this whole goddamn thing, which is good. Because we don't need more Children of the Corn movies. And then they get into a barn. Hey, we can't run away from this thing. Smart. We can't get anybody to come get us. Okay, that makes sense. So let's go into a barn, get a leather strap, and tie ourselves to a pipe. And I'm sure that pipe is anchored to the goddamn ground. But fuck you that would work. I mean, maybe it would. I've never been in a tornado. I hope to never be in a tornado. And everything's fine. Also, they're getting all the readings and everything. All the readings and all the technology. Yay! Woo! I'm holding up these fingers, by the way. So yeah, Twister. There were such devoted Twisters. What do you guys think of Twister? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.